Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WYN Legal podcast in celebration of International Women's Day. WYN Legal have collaborated with several inspiring women who will be sharing their journeys with us today. I'm Binal Shah, a senior associate at WYN Legal. I'm really excited today to be joined by Timmy Kader, who is a co-founder of SW Events worldwide. Hi, Timmy. Welcome.
Hi, Binal.
And thank
Nice
you for
to meet
joining
you.
us today.
Thank you for having me.
You too. So really, it's the podcast is surrounding obviously International Women's Day, and we're just speaking to several women about their journeys through business. So, if you want to kickstart with just sharing with us your journey to where you are now,
Okay.
it'd be great.
Thank you for the introduction, Binal. So, I'm Timmy, and I am the co-founder of SW Events. I come from a place in Yorkshire called Bradford, which is where our family business has was started. So I've always been in business. What's nice is that from a young age, I've always enjoyed pretty things and just playing with clothes and jewelry and anything creative. So my grandparents came to this country. Don't ask me what year, but they came when my people were coming from India and Pakistan, and they were from India and Pakistan. And my grandparents came here, and they had come from business in Bombay, and they felt that there was a shortage of things that Asian people could buy. So they must have come in the late 50s, and they decided that they would open a store that would sell everything that South Asian people would need. So clothes, jewelry, shoes, anything religious. So incense sticks, statues, musical instruments, you name it. Anything you need to run your house, even dishes and cooking utensils. And that's where that was my grandparents. So growing up in that world meant that we would always do business. And then the wedding decor business actually started from Bradford. So I used to be part of the fashion part of the business, so designing clothes, bridal clothes at the age of 18. And then when I got married, moved to London, I decided the clothing market was quite saturated, and I would go into wedding design, which is why I am an SW today. And I think we're a big joint family structure. Girls get married, they move on, and they have to do their own thing. So yeah, that's my background.
That's your background. Okay, so in terms of where you are right now and the challenges you faced, were there any challenges getting to where you are now? And if so, how did you overcome them?
I think so. I think even today we face challenges in our businesses. I think as South Asian people in general, we have challenges settling into and breaking barriers. In my journey of where I am today, I think the challenges I faced that I'd like to talk about, I think being a woman especially, was 15, 16 years ago when I came into this business. It was dominated by men, the Asian wedding industry. And it still is. I mean, there are women in this business, they're in this trade, but they're always superseded by men. And I've had to fight my way through being able to sit with men on the same table. Through the Asian Wedding Association, which Pranav was a part of as well, which made me realize that we have to speak up, and if we sit with men and we think that they know what they're doing and we should follow them, but actually they always still need a woman, right, to help manage their thoughts and just look at things in another perspective. In my life growing up, and just generally challenges I face in my personal life, I think one thing that I'm quite concerned about, and generally I feel very I want to talk about this, is the difference between boys and girls in a family as well. So when I was in business, I was working with my grandparents and my mum's brother, my uncle. My cousin brothers and my brother, being the boys of the family at the time, were younger than me. And I was in business before then. Unfortunately, when I got married, I had to move out of business and the boys just naturally took over.
Okay.
I think that's something that I hold on to till this day, because I feel that regardless of what of how good you are, what you can give back to the business, when you're a girl in our society, and I don't think it happens as much now, I think women are just expected to leave that part of their life and let the sons take over. And it's something that I till this day speak a lot to my mum about as well. And especially more because I feel like we then have to go back and start from the beginning and struggle. Whereas the boys are placed into a business that's third generation, lots of years old. They've got the base there, whereas we're trying to create our own base and our own name.
Yes.
Which there's a good thing about that. I mean, it means that I've found my own way, made my own name. I'm not piggybacking on a family name or a family brand. But then as you grow older and you get wiser in business, you then start realizing that actually I could have done this years ago if I was
if you had the, yeah, exactly.
Basically.
You were just a boy. Yeah, no, you're quite right. So do I take it that one SW isn't part of the kind of...
No, it's not part of
So that's something you created
It
yourself?
was. It started off there. I separated it many years ago because, again, it was part of the family business. So my uncle he started the business, but I grew it in London. I will say, I mean, there are family members who still want to give credit to the Ben who started it.
Okay.
But I feel like being in London, where we're a little bit more ahead of the times and there's so many more cultures, I feel that I can create my own name and have my own recognition, which I really do value. And people do appreciate what I do, and I do appreciate, the love we get from industry that we're in, and generally just clients.
Yeah,
I've managed to build my...
You've managed, yeah, exactly. I was just going to say about the industry itself. It's quite, it's quite challenging.
It still is. Exactly. I think business is challenging.
The couples happy as well. Whatever you do, it's kind of their journey.
Do you know what's nice is our couples are not as bad as in, I find I deal with more fathers now.
Okay.
I deal with more grooms, and they are very much ready to listen to an expert. So it's nice that you're respected too. As a wedding industry professional. So I don't think the couples are challenging. I think couples they know what they want.
Okay.
And so we have to up our standards and we have to up our service levels
to make sure you
keep up with that. Exactly. Levels. I think that's what it is.
Okay. No, you've done obviously phenomenal.
Yes.
Getting to where you
Thank you.
Especially with the challenges that
still so much.
Yeah. So what's the future for One SW?
So with Pranav, we explored Bahrain last year, which was very interesting. I think that gave us an opportunity. So we explored the Middle East last year, and it was just an eye-opener as to the potentials of having weddings abroad. Obviously, the market is pushing that way as well, but I think it's not the traditional get married abroad and it means that it costs more money or you have the big fat Indian wedding. Mm-hmm. I think what we're missing is the point is that people are getting married abroad because the weddings have become more intimate. So it's quality over quantity. Also, there's a lot of mixed weddings. So based around the mixed weddings culture, the young couples nowadays just don't want to have a wedding, a 3-day wedding with all the traditional cultures anymore. They just want to keep things very minimal. People don't want religious ceremonies anymore. They just want blessings and parties. The other thing about, obviously, with One SW now is not just helping you plan your wedding abroad, but designing your wedding wherever it is in the world. So couples don't come to you and say, I want to have a 3-day wedding in Italy. They come to you saying, I want to have a wedding and this is my budget and I want a beach or I want something, I want, I don't know, the lake or mountains and this is my, and this is kind of the numbers I have. Please tell me where can I get
Where can you get, yeah.
And I think the challenge now is to be almost like a creative wedding agency that can help you get married, even if it's in London. I mean, there's so many undiscovered spots in London which couples don't know about. I had a groom. He was, for example, looking at a manor house, typically as people do, not realizing that it's not that expensive to get married in central London. So he actually lost his deposit on his manor house and went and booked a hotel. Just on my advice. So, I just think that it's a challenge because we're now having to restructure our business, but it's nice to discover a market by accident. And then create our own niche.
No, completely understand. So in terms of the requests that you're talking about, what's the weirdest request you've ever had from any couples?
Oh God! Well, I won't say weird because time is the time is obviously we assume that weddings should be planned years in advance.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting on 2 proposals or 2 clients right now who both want to get married. So one's having a destination wedding in May.
Okay.
Her decor done, so we are tight on time, but we'll do it. One wants to get married as soon as possible abroad. Literally.
That's it.
For 200 people. So we're reaching out to Bahrain, obviously, and other places. But I think what's what I will say is strange is the misconception around weddings. And I think that's what's really weird right now, is where people say, I've got £35,000 and I want to have a 3-day wedding in Europe. And straight away, you know that people need more education when it comes to weddings in general. Like when you're getting a mortgage or when you're buying a house, you think, okay, it's fine. I'll get a job, then I'll get a mortgage, I'll buy a house, and I'll get married, then I'll have kids.
But the expectations are not.
And I think people need guidance generally in the same way when it comes to weddings. There's just no regulated industry out there to be able to tell people about it. So it's hard.
Yeah. And in terms of advice for women who want to kind of thrive in this industry or any business, sort of advice
I think it's really important right now. I mean, me and my friend Anisha, who I don't know if Pranav knows as well, we feel very strongly about educating women in our trade. And there's a couple of friends I've spoken to, and we are considering launching a training school very soon.
Okay.
Because I feel like it's not just if you like making cakes, for example, it's not just learning to make a cake. It's how to do the business. And it's how to find your niche. What I'm completely against is creating copycat models of services that we already have.
Yeah.
Because I can very easily say, okay, great, yeah, go open a decor business or go and be a makeup artist. But the market is saturated. And I think we should be teaching people how to do what they're doing, but also find out what their niche.
Yeah.
And is it worth it? I mean, it may look good on paper, it may look good on Instagram, but is it worth your while? So I think it's anybody coming into this industry, first do the maths, then find out, are you passionate about it? Yes, the hours are hard and the work is hard and it's challenging, but if you enjoy it, then you will put the time in. Yeah, the money's got to be worth it. And I'm going to be quite honest here. People can say, oh, but if you're passionate, you'll enjoy it. But if it's not helping you survive and it's draining your finances, then don't do it.
Exactly.
Because ultimately, you're just wasting your life away.
Yeah, I completely.
So make sure the maths adds up. That's what I'm going to say.
So in terms of education for the wedding industry, are you saying there is currently, so if you're thinking of launching some sort of academy where people can train, is there nothing currently available for people who want to train into the wedding industry, basically?
I mean, a lot of people can go to college and schools, and there's like an event school in London.
Okay.
So there's plenty of training and you can do event management at university as well. There's plenty of training for event management. The wedding industry, unfortunately, is not regulated. So there's nothing specifically for weddings. But on the other side, the market is very small as well. That's why you need to be a multidisciplinary creative. So I think we don't need any more wedding planners in this world. I think there's far too many. I think being a wedding designer is not something you can learn, but I think having a focus skill within that area is what you could be good at. So rather than say, I want to be a florist or I want to design weddings, first focus on how can you do that. So learn your tech skills. Learn how to use AutoCAD, 3D design, graphic design, Canva. If you can work those resources and those software, that is your platform to put your ideas to life, okay? Because you can't just go into a florist shop and pick up some flowers and go to a fabric shop and go to a cushion shop and a furniture shop because you're not showing your client. The beauty of all this is now that we have AI. And so really what I say is if you have an idea as a designer, talk to AI about it, use AI. And if somebody buys that design, then you've got theoretically, even if you don't go out and buy all the stock, there's enough suppliers in each category, be it decor, chairs, furniture, cakes, everything, lighting, to then bring your idea to life. So like I said, we don't need any more wedding planners. We need designers who can think out of the box. And currently our industry, we're not designers generally. There's a very few. Majority are just literally just copying the pictures out there, the weddings out there. So that's what I would say. Find what your niche is, find what you're good at, and use AI, which we're very lucky to have, to bring that idea.
No, I think very useful tips for our listeners today. So thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, that's the end of this podcast. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to welcoming our next guest.